listening to Spectrum on Air, the colourful voice of radio.
Welcome to the Electro Wave Show with Stuart Calder.
Hello there, welcome to a very, very special Electro Wave Show. It's Electroniq Uncovered, and we promote and we interview and we play the music of the artists appearing at Electroniq in Camden on the 21st of March 2025. Darren Lawrence, who is head of Lucida Records, he has put together an absolute amazing night of electronic music in the most iconic venue in Camden, without a shadow of a doubt. Amy Winehouse has played there, Madness has played there, loads of other artists have played there. On today's show, we will be interviewing Space Wreck, Ann Ting and Ian Gallagher, Leg Puppy, of course, who we'll start off with, and Arch Femesis, who are the headline act, and every single act are just wonderful people, and I thank them so much for providing me with that opportunity to talk to them and play their music. We'll start today with Darren Lawrence. He is Mr. Leg Puppy, Mr. Lucida Records, and as always with Darren, we just end up chatting, and before you know it, the interview's finished. So we were talking about his new catchphrase. Enjoy the show.
Should be an element of surprise. As we always say, it's all about an element of surprise, and that's the electronic vibe. I've got a new catchline, actually. It's brilliant. Yeah, Electroniq changing the face of electronic music. It's quite cool, isn't it?
It's all right.
Or changing the face of live electronica. When people say, what are your electronic nights about? And I just say it's about performance. So it's mainly with vocals, and it's mainly about the performance side of electronica. So maybe a little bit theatrical. It's not your standard electronic night, with visuals and someone pressing buttons, which is great. I love that. I love going to watch those gigs. It's some brilliant music, watching the visuals. It's a bit more than that. It's a bit more engaging. That's the word, engaging. The performers are a bit more engaging.
They use all the tools they have available for their performance, and one of the tools is the audience, for instance.
Yeah. But saying that, Ann Ting, her set is quite chilled and laid back, but it's the fact that they travel around the world recording these. It's just incredible. When you sit there and actually think about it, it's so unique. Literally travels the world, goes deep sea diving, and records all these sounds and puts it in the music. You have to really get it and stand there, and you need to research it, because if you just watch it without doing any research, you won't get it, because you just think, it's just anyone can download a bloody bird sample. No. This is not downloaded. She's travelled to some exotic country in the world and recorded it. Do you know what I mean? It's that, and it's brilliant. Performers as well, like Waterflower, she's great. I've just rebooked her for the July gig. She's great as well. She's got it all going on, brilliantly engaging, great music, a vibe. So
21st of March, Camden, Dublin Castle, who's appearing?
So we haven't even spoken about Space Wreck. I mean, they're brilliant. They are just off the scale. Just, they're a band that I saw at Emon, Electronic Open Mic, and they were great. They had something a bit extra. They've got a robot who actually has a big robot head. Toby, the lead singer, is very charismatic. It's just great. It's really trippy. It's psychedelic. It's taking you somewhere else. That's what I love about the bands I put on. They take you somewhere else. It's not just. They're not just performing the tracks for the sake of it. They're inviting you into their world, and that's what I love.
So who's headlining this electronic venue?
So Arch Femesis. I've been asking them for a while. Probably got Leg Puppy vibes. The songs are quite satirical, quite cutting, quite in your face. She's an incredible performer. She will whip up the crowd. They'd be terrorized, they'd be energized, they'd be excited, they'd be terrified. Yeah, banging tunes. gonna be brilliant. Really excited. Yeah, I say this for everyone because they are so good. Because I put so much effort into curating my nights that I pick the bands that I know will put on a brilliant show. So I'm really excited.
And of course, Leg Puppy's appearing as well.
And of course, Leg Puppy is appearing. Yeah, this might be one of the last times actually to see the Robobots because there's new material coming out. So I'm not quite sure when I'm going to release it, but there might only be 2 or 3 gigs left with the Robobots. Then I'll invent some new characters.
So the clown's gone, the Robobots are on the way out.
Well, the clowns went, the bunny went.
The bunny, of course, yeah.
The Robobots are on the way, maybe on the way out. They probably got to go back to where their planet. So yeah, who knows?
So Leg Puppy appearing at Electroniq, fresh from headlining in Stoke last weekend.
We did. It was so good. Oh man, they was all singing back the tracks. It's great. The minute you do the minute you do the phone track, everyone gets it. Everyone gets it. And it's one of my pet hates, and I'm always going on about it. But every day we are seeing more and more phone outlets, and we're losing the battle. So when you do that song, you just say, I always introduce it with, there will be some of you here in this audience who are one of these, and there will be some of you in here who completely can relate to this. And when I talk about phone outs, people just cheer and they sing it back because they get it. And the people who are singing it back are probably a little bit embarrassed because they know their phone outs.
It looked really good. From what I saw on the videos from what you uploaded from the gig, it looked like it was an absolute ball.
It was so good. It was so good. I was a little bit nervous because, when you headline, you think you're the last band on. A lot of they've been there all weekend. They get bored of seeing music, so a lot of them just go home. But a lot of people stayed. A lot of bands stayed. A lot of people came in. There's quite a lot of young people there. Yeah, they all got it. It was great, dancing and singing and. Yeah, brilliant.
Nothing
really
is real. There is only nothing is real. There is only emptiness, filling the shallow void.
Nothing is real. There, nothing is real. There.
Nothing is real. There is only nothing is real. There is only emptiness, filling the shallow void. Nothing is real. There is only emptiness, filling the shallow void.
Nothing is real. There is only emptiness, filling the shallow void.
Nothing is real. There is only emptiness, filling the shallow void. Nothing is real. There is only nothing is real. There is only emptiness. Emptiness.
Emptiness. Emptiness. Emptiness.
Nothing is real. There is only nothing is real. There is only nothing is
So who else we got at Electroniq on the 21st? There's Leg Puppy, there's Archfemesis, there's
Anting and Space Wreck.
And Space Trek, yeah. So you've got 4 bands.
Yeah.
And what's the price of tickets, Darren?
If you buy them in advance, it's £10, but I would get in there quickly because, like I said, the last 2 nearly sold out, so it's going to be really busy. Just go to Electroniq on We Got Tickets to get your ticket, or go into the Facebook group or Instagram. Click on the bio and get yourself a ticket.
And just looking forward to the future, you've got a couple more gigs, Electroniq gigs lined up during the rest of 2025.
Yeah, I've got the whole lineup sorted until 2026.
Oh, so, brilliant!
Yeah, I've maybe got 1 space left, which I'm negotiating with someone. So yeah, it's really exciting. Yeah, Electroniq is really, it's looking good. It's looking good. I want to develop it into more than just gigs. So I'm not going to give too much away yet, but there's a lot of really exciting stuff happening. And then obviously the EMONs are going brilliant as well. We had one last Wednesday. That was amazing. So many incredible performers. Just brilliant. Yeah, really, really good. And for me, it's great because I get to see talent that I can put on Electroniq, which is what I've done in the May Electroniq. There's someone who played and was really nervous, and she's kept on playing, and she's got confident and got more confident, and now she just completely owns the stage. And I said, "Yep, you're ready." So it's brilliant. Really
this
good.
is the thing, isn't it? You're giving the stage to people who wouldn't normally have an iconic stage like that to perform their music and their works, and I think it's just an absolute wonderful thing. I've said before, you can only really experience Electroniq if you're there. You can say as much as you want about it, but to actually experience it and to feel it, and because one of the best things about it is the crowd are just a brilliant crowd that come to your gigs.
It's just a really nice, friendly, welcoming environment for everyone, isn't it? That's what's great about it. Do you know what I mean? It's really, really nice.
And a Friday night as well, sets your weekend up nicely.
Perfect night for it.
21st of March.
Yeah. Oh, I think we've got Dr. Mush doing live visuals, who is someone that I met. I'm sure you interviewed him. How we met was hilarious. Did he tell you that?
No.
So his head's everywhere, isn't it? He's like, so we met at Alice's Wicked Tea Party. It's a festival, and he was working behind the bar, and my girlfriend, said to me, "Oh my God, see that guy over there? It's only working so I can see Leg Pup." I went, "Really?" So I went up to the bar, ordered a beer, didn't say anything, went back, and I went back about an hour later. I said, how's it going? "Yeah, really good, man," because he's very, hyper. I said, "Oh yeah, are you coming to see?" He goes, "Oh yeah, Leg Puppy, man, they're sick. I said, "Oh yeah, should be good." And obviously, I got on stage and he was like, "Oh, it's you." Yeah, brilliant. But he's a proper fan. Like, he loves my music. He puts it to all his videos. Yeah, really good. Lovely guy.
Top guy, really creative.
Brilliant VJ, really good. Like, he does proper drum and bass raves. He goes and, because he's quite young, he gets into it, he feels it. Do you know what I mean? So he's doing the visuals. So, it's going to be amazing. So
we had a really interesting chat with him. Well, that'll be on the show a bit later on tonight. Yeah. But he was a fantastic guy, lovely bloke as well as Jay. And I wish him really all the best. And he'll be a brilliant addition to Electroniq on the 21st of March. So, Darren, thank you very much as always for a chat, and have yourself a great gig on the 21st of March. And take care. See you soon.
Cheers, mate.
System fail. System fail.
Negative. System fail.
Negative. System fail. False. Negative. System. False. Negative. System. File. Methods.
System fail. System fail. System fail. System fail. Negative. Negative. System fail. Negative. Negative. System fail. System fail. Metrics.
Next up on the show, we have Dr. Mush, who's providing the visuals for Electroniq on the 21st of March 2025. He is an amazing guy, wonderfully talented, and I had no idea how much work went into creating the visuals for a gig like Electroniq. Please do go and find him on YouTube. Dr. Mush is his name, and there's lots of tutorials on there and some of the stuff he's done, which is absolutely amazing and incredible. So here we are. Here's Dr. Mush.
How did you get into doing VJing then?
So I went to my first ever Boomtown was in, I'll say 2017, I think it was, 2017 and 2018. And I remember just like being stood there, like looking over one main stages on like Saturday or Sunday and just being like, how do I get this all day, every day? And then ever since then, I've just sort of taught myself everything I know, because it's very hard to find or it used to be very hard to find resources online. So ever since that moment of inspiration at Boomtown, I've just been like teaching myself everything as best as I can. I think I've done a pretty bloody good job at it, to be fair. A few years later. So yeah, it was just one initial spark and then just pulling everything together, and here we are.
So are you self-taught, or you've done courses and stuff like that?
Yeah, completely self-taught for the majority of the bulk of it. But I have a friend called Tony Coleman, who's the Lab Visuals, who's I'd say I'm like his Padawan. He's like the Jedi Master of the game, and he's been VJing since like the early 90s. So he's taught me a few like of the big things to know as well, and some cool like tricks. I've done some shows with him, and he's like taken me under his wing. So I've had like the good exposure from like the top dogs of the industry, has like shown me what I should be looking for, how I should be doing things, and then yeah, the nuts and bolts. A lot of it is all self-taught.
So how did you get to meet Darren?
So that's a good story. We're at a festival in Bournemouth on the Dorset circuit. And I remember looking at the lineup before I was going to go. I was like, oh, do I want to go? Like, da, da, da. And I saw Leg Puppy. I listened to it on Spotify. I was like, what is this? Like, I've got to check this out. So I mainly went, like, Leg Puppy, the main reason I went there, I was working at the bar volunteering. I was like, oh, do you mind if I shoot and go see them? And I saw Darren's set, and it was just a really awesome set. Like, the whole narrative to it just had me, like, properly dancing. And then there was someone who came for a drink. I think it was his missus, and I was like speaking, and I was like, oh, this band Leg Puppy, that's why I'm here. And she was like, oh, I'll get Darren over for you. So that's how I met him. Just a fangirl, really.
How long have you been doing them for then, your visuals for Leg Puppy?
For Leg Puppy, so sort of like on and off, whenever like a little project comes along that needs a little bit of like touch visual work to it, I'll do some stuff for Leg Puppy. But this is the first live performance I've done for them, which is really exciting because I really understand the style, and I understand where Darren's coming from in what like he wants Leg Puppy to be about, and like the visual narrative behind it. So I've got some really exciting stuff planned, actually. I've got a lot of like ideas, and then sort of as I'm feeling my way into the night and the set, try and build this like rise and fall narrative and curate a narrative that's going to be relevant to the music that comes up.
So how do you, and this is probably maybe not a silly question, but it is to me, how do you start to design a visual set?
So there's so many ways to do it. The thing about visuals is you spend, because again, there's so few resources like to find out about this stuff. Like I'd say like a good 20% of the stuff on YouTube is stuff that I've put up there or about like the industry or about the art form. So it's not like there's lots of stuff to like find from, but in terms of making visuals, the most important thing is there's no right answer. You can make visuals out of anything. So if I got my phone and I just got this like teacup mug here with these pretty patterns on it, you get a nice little 360 out of it. You could, if you knew what you were doing, make an entire set just out of like this pattern design, just adding effects and whatnot. So it's really down to one's imagination in what you use for visuals and how you create them. There's literally no wrong answer.
So it's similar to sort of, I guess, making music and, you know, I'd be saying, where do you start making a track? You know, you can start from wherever you want, and especially with, you know, electronic music, people using synthesizers with an infinite number of sounds. It's like, where do you start? And it's like you just have a sort of an idea and just go with it almost and feel it. And I guess you've heard some of Darren's music as well, so you kind of get the feel for that to go with the music. Yeah,
like for me, the primary thing is it's always dictated by the music. So if I'm creating, say I was creating some visuals for Leg Puppy, and then my mind drifted and I started listening to drum and bass, the visuals would come out differently. So the music just is absolutely imperative in dictating, the music's imperative in dictating what the visuals are going to come out like. So for me, that's always port one, like find the vibe, I like to like create a narrative around the vibe. Like if this, the way I do it is, if this song were in like a dystopian futuristic city, this is how I judge all music. Like, like which district would it live in? What kind of narrative would be around it? What kind of people would be listening to it on the radio? And then from there, I can start to like curate an actual like the pictures and the imagery and the colors, and then sort of like branch out like that. So yeah, for me, it's always about the music first, and then the visuals come second.
So what kind of equipment do you use to generate the visuals?
All sorts. I mean, I'm currently short on controllers because they keep dying on me, so I'm on my minimals at the moment. But I've experimented with all sorts, to be honest. Primarily like little MIDI controllers and stuff, always a good way to go. Keyboard inputs, like touchscreen stuff, like your iPhone even. I've taken quite a liking to, where is it? Oh, this one will do. Taken quite a liking to Xbox controllers recently. These are a lot of fun.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, just whatever tool for the job, really. Like you can control visuals using your voice, right? We're at a point in technology where things are just getting absolutely ridiculous. Like we're going to have Neuralinks in our brains soon that I could control the visuals from. So there's no shortage on hardware or mediums to really control the visuals out of. It's just the right tool for the right job kind of thing.
So your controllers and your keyboards are what you use to control the visuals in the first place.
Yeah.
And how do you create what tools do you use to create the visuals?
So what do I use to create the visuals? That's a good question. And I'm going to use this phrase in an interview that may come back and bite me later. But the greatest artists are thieves, right? So you take what you can and remix it and make it your own. But you can, like, if I'm going to create it myself, I like to use Krita, just like hand drawing them in. And because visuals are so conceptual, right, you can get away with murder. So I can just do a couple of like ink blodges on the screen. Just like it takes 2 seconds, just go in a couple of different colors and then put it through the software. And then suddenly I can create like a trip sequence out of it. And then you could go ahead and animate it and I can add the effects and like the whole 9 yards. So again, like a lot of VJs, they might use like 3D software. 3D software is quite big at the moment with artists like Anima. He's really into it. I think particle fluid physics are going to be a big thing in VJing in the next few years. So we're going to be seeing a few of them. So every visual jockey comes from a different background. So like some of them come from like programming, some of them come from 3D, some of them come from music. So everyone sort of takes their background and then puts that into how they create visuals. For me, I'd say my background was... What is my background? I wouldn't even know how to describe my background. Quite just a jack of all trades, just an interest in everything. So I guess that's reflected in my visuals that I just don't really have a set way of doing it.
That's really interesting because, like I said a minute ago, is that you start off with a sound and you remix it to make music essentially, and you're doing the same with images. You know, you can take an image, you can stretch it, loop it, whatever you want to do with it. You know. And that's really interesting. So what's next for you?
So what's next for me? Well, hopefully big things. So I am still, I'm on a bit of a quest to try and become a YouTuber at the moment. So I've literally just started out I haven't just started out. My channel's sort of on there. Like I've got some videos on there and the account's like monetized and whatnot. So the plan is to go to Bristol and actually start creating like VJ style YouTube content. So it's just a case of getting some funds together really, so I can actually like do what I need to do, because I need editors is primarily the thing. But once I get that, then move to Bristol, start pumping out all these different like vlogs, all these different fun videos. Like today we're going to do something ridiculous with a video wall kind of thing. There'll be a lot of health and fitness in there. So me eating carrots, doing press ups, making crazy visuals is assumably what the content's going to be. So yeah, that's sort of my primary focus at the moment, because I'm very passionate about the UK culture and like the way the industry is going. So like since COVID, the entire industry has just been somewhat decimated. Brexit's made it difficult to get like other artists over, and we haven't really put the infrastructure in place to be creating British artists and actually help them come through. So a lot of it's crumbling, and that's why we've got charities like Save Our Scene and whatnot coming through. So a big passion of mine is right, well, if I just become a YouTuber, then at least I can put money into places because no one else is putting the money anywhere. So that's sort of like the drive for doing this YouTube at the moment, to really try and help the scene come back to like what it should be. Because I feel if we let it sort of run its course the way it's naturally going to go, we're going to lose way too many venues and pubs and all that stuff. And I can't idly sit by and let that happen.
No, I don't disagree at all. I think a lot of places have closed down, sadly, and it's the places where people start to cut their teeth. The kind of pubs with the back room with them. You know, it's the venues which hold 60, 70 people, and they're just the best places because you get the best vibe.
100%.
You know,
that's the real that's the real bit of it. Like, as much as we all love the festivals and all that, like one, they couldn't even exist without those places existing. It all comes up like that. And two, like, I'm not going to go to a festival every single weekend. I'm going to go down the pub and watch a local musician every weekend. Like, there's a real thing that has to change here. And I'm hoping that we're on the up.
I think one of the problems is as well is that ticket prices sometimes are a little bit extortionate for going to see a band. If you're spending 25, I mean, that's not too bad, but you can quite easily spend 60, 70 quid watching a band in a reasonable sized venue, not even a big venue. And like you say, you can't do that every week, you know, and some of you added in your travel, your beer, and maybe a hotel. It's causing a problem. And the problem we do have is that people aren't buying tickets in advance as much because they're not quite sure if it's going to happen. And because people aren't buying tickets in advance, it doesn't happen because there's not been enough tickets bought in advance to put on the gig.
It's becoming a self like perpetuating thing now, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's since COVID. And we need to get past that, I think. And if we're going to go to a gig, let's commit to it. And commit to the gig, commit to the promoter, commit to the artist as well. That we are going to be there and we're there to support you. I think that's really important because if the gigs don't happen, the venues close down. So like you say, it's a vicious circle, isn't it, really? Yeah,
well, once the venues go, like, what's the point of being in Britain if we haven't got a local music scene? It's the only thing we got going for us.
Yeah, decently.
Festivals and our pubs.
Listen, you're in for an absolute treat on the 21st of March at Dublin Castle. You really are, because you're going to fit in so well on that vibe because it's going to be a great night. Nice. And I do know that having been to one in November, you come away going, that was just an amazing evening of music and talent and everything that goes with it. The crowd's incredibly supportive as well. And it's going to be right up your street, Josh. It really is, mate.
I'm really looking forward to it, to be fair, because it's like that is it. The electro punk scene and what like Darren's doing is like, it's raw London. It's really raw London. And like, I haven't really experienced lots of like the London music. I'm more like Bristol based when I do stuff. But like, when you perceive London from like the outside, like if you're not from the UK and the perception of London, I think that Leg Puppy and like the venue is going to be I'm really looking forward to experiencing it for the first time.
Have you been to Dublin Castle before?
I've never been to Camden before.
Oh, right. Okay. I mean, I'm not a regular. I've only been there once to Dublin Castle, but it's a wonderful, wonderful venue. The PA is superb as well. The music just fills the room, and the actual PA behind it is just incredible. And you're in for an absolute treat on the 21st of March. Dr. Mush, you are on YouTube. You've got nearly 3,000 subscribers so far, and that's not bad for someone who just started out on YouTube. How long have you had a YouTube channel for?
So I've had the YouTube channel for it must be like over 2 years old now. So I spent ages, like a couple of years, just like this whole bedroom rule was classic, just paper everywhere, just working out what YouTube was and like how to do it. And like I did about 8 videos. I was like, all right, I've got this. This is pretty easy now. So like algorithmically, I know how to do the whole thing. It's just a case of getting the money together to actually, because like I hate editing. It's just not my thing. I can't do it. So, but I've got every other area down. Like I'm a visual jockey. I'm an interesting dude. I know how to behave on camera. So I've got all the components. I just can't afford to pay the editor. So it's a case of once I get to Bristol, get a little bit of P behind me, then I'm going to start doing like, all these like daily content, all that stuff. But yeah, it was just a case of just like, it's not too hard to learn if you sort of know, like at the end of the day, Google's just there to make money. So you've just got to tick all the boxes. And I think what really profoundly inspired me to go like, okay, this is really interesting was when Mr. Beast did his videos where he was like giving away money to homeless people, and he managed to make that a viable economic practice in that giving away money while people are looking at it gets you more money. And it's like, there's a lot of room for cynicism in that, and you can analyze it and pick it apart. But at the end of the day, there's people that need money are getting money from like charitable things. So, and that whole principle is just baffling. Like capitalism is just inverted now. It's starting to eat itself, and we're getting some weird like things coming out of it. So I thought, right, I better learn everything about this because this is going to be like massive. Like we're not even started on where content creation is going to be over the next 20 years.
I don't disagree. I completely think you're bob on. And with the invention of AI, and the more that gets more and more prevalent and learns more, and there's just more stuff going to be happening, and it's going to be you're not going to know if you're in the real world anymore, I don't think.
Yeah, we're going to get to that point. Like it's straight up. I think my plan is, get a nice chunk of money, and then when it gets to the AI thing, hopefully I'll be able to help out with it. Otherwise, I'll be on an island somewhere. But I also as well, one of the things on YouTube, there's not enough rock and roll in the world at the moment. There needs I'm seeing all these YouTubers they're doing it so wrong, and it actively pisses me off. I can't lie. Like one of the days like Motley Crue, why aren't I seeing like KSI on like a 20 beer cocaine bender and like waking up and doing a video? That's the kind of content
That's
I want
what you want to see.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Dr. Mosh, thank you so much for the chat. That was really, really good. Thank you very much indeed.
No worries,
and have yourself a great time on 21st of March.
Next up, we have Space Wreck. Lee and Toby joined me for a chat all about their music and how they make it, and what type of music they're playing and what to expect to the Electroniq gig. They're just wonderful people. We did the interview, and we carried on talking for about another sort of 40 minutes just about music and everything wonderful. They're great people, and they're going to be a great addition to Electroniq. So here we are. Here's Space Wreck.
Hi everyone, Toby and Lee are with me now from Space Wreck, and they are here to talk about the Electroniq gig on the 21st of March, and also a little bit about themselves. And I'm hoping quite a lot about themselves because I know nothing or very little about them both. Toby and Lee, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello, welcome.
How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, well...
how did you guys meet in the first place, and how did Space Wreck all come about?
This is a good one. I think it was our wives. Our wives knew each other, and they said, "Oh, you're both interested in music. Let's put them together and see if they start a band."
It took some time.
Yeah, how long
but
was
we
it?
did.
We did eventually.
Yeah, we did, and I think after the pandemic, really, we kind of started going to EMOM events. Went to one EMOM event and thought, let's do something, and went from there, really.
Yeah, we both caught COVID at that event.
Yeah. Well, that seems to be
stop it.
Seems to be a regular occurrence, actually, catching something at one of our gigs.
Yeah, but yeah, as soon as we've been to an EMOM event, it was like kind of opened up the possibility of how to do a band, because we thought, well, we only need to come up with 15 minutes of material, and it doesn't matter if it's just improvised on the night. So it just made it easy, what we've been putting off for years.
Should also mention the fact that you had a cardboard box that was a robot head, and it was just kind of lying in your room.
Yeah, I made it for Halloween, and then Halloween was cancelled because of COVID. So I hadn't had a chance to use it. So when you said, what are you going to wear, thought I better wear this box on my head,
and it's been like that ever since.
Yeah, that's really influenced the direction of
So we're
influenced by a cardboard box, basically.
Yeah. It's painted silver. It's not just as it came from the factory.
The bananas on the side of it or something. What kind of music are you guys playing?
Robot music.
Yeah, I'd say it's psychedelic, space orientated, head music. I'd like to think of that, but I mean, I guess it's quite upbeat, quite up tempo, quite ambient. It goes through, and there's kind of storylines going through it. So there's a bit of drama in there, a bit of theatrical stuff going on as well.
We're both doing different things as well. Well, I'm doing malfunctioning robot music while he's doing human spaceman gone mad music.
Kind of like live, like live synths and live noises and a bit of modified earth guitar, that kind of stuff.
I'm concentrating on sequenced computer robot sounds.
You say you guys met through your wives and ended up going to the EMOM events. How did you find those events? And I don't know how you get them, but how did you get involved with them in the first place? And what you're getting out of them? Because I think they are really, really important for the kind of underground electronic scene as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're amazing. They are the only kind of link that I have with that kind of underground music scene. I just found out about them online, I think, and as soon as I went to one, I've just been going to them ever since.
Didn't you read Martin's book as well?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'd already been to one. Oh no, sorry, that's right. We went to one, but we went on the wrong night, so I felt like I'd been to one, but I hadn't. And then I read the book, and because I was away in Korea when the book came out, so I read the book before I came back.
Yeah. It's just
a good idea of what to expect, actually.
It's just amazing atmosphere we were going to Chewy Madigan's event in the Crypts in Camberwell, and it was just the environment, you kind of felt that you could do something and it would be well received and appreciated by the people, and it was you could kind of test things out in that environment. Really welcoming.
A very good combination of watching a gig and having a kind of social meetup as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And talking about gear basically, which is always fun.
Yeah, there's lots of them around the world anyway, isn't there? They've kind of taken off kind of left, right and centre, and they are really, really important. I think the Electroniq gig or set of gigs that happen kind of feed off that as well. It's almost given artists a bigger platform to perform their music as well. So I'm assuming you're looking forward to the Electroniq gig on the 21st because it's an amazing night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very much, and it's great venue as well. Nice PA as well, and it's good.
Well, exactly, because I was there in November, and the PA I thought was absolutely was phenomenal. Really, the great sound that was coming out of that, and it is an amazing venue. You've played it before, haven't you guys?
Yes, yeah, we have. We've played at one of the EMOM events there, or two of them, I think, possibly, probably more. Yeah, and kind of just know the venue as well, from seeing other bands there.
Yeah. What should we expect from your live performances on the 21st of March?
I think probably new stuff, unless we don't have time to finish the new stuff. Then we'll have half new, half old. But we usually do new stuff at every EMOM, so
yeah, it's a great way to kind of write new material because having that deadline of a performance. So I mean, we were really going for it when we were doing like 15-minute pieces, a new piece every time, which is quite it's quite involved. But we're shrinking our pieces down so they're shorter. But see, there's storylines going through a lot of them as well. So it's
we haven't really finalised the set for
Electroniq. No, not yet, not as yet. But it's going to be good. I have a feeling.
It's a really, really good night. I can vouch for that.
Is it about half an hour each? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it's roughly about that. Yeah,
that's going to be a good punchy length of time. That's about the length of time albums used to be, isn't it?
Yeah, that's very
Black
true.
Sabbath's first album about half an hour.
Yeah.
It's a really good audience there as well that go to the electronic gigs, and they're really appreciative and they just want to see something completely different. You know, they don't want to see you know, your bog standard synth pop band doing 3-minute pop songs. They want to see something a little bit quirky, a bit different, and that's what the ethos is of Electroniq.
I think that's the key, really. It's the performance, you know. So just giving people something to remember, and we've always kind of remembered the more wacky, far out performances, I think.
Yeah, certainly. I can vouch for that. There was you're going to get that on the 21st, and you'll be part of that as well, which is brilliant. I was doing a bit of research for you guys online, and I couldn't find any music. What's your plan with releasing music, and how do you, more or less, first of all, how do you get together to write a track or create an electronic track in the first place? What's your process?
Well, we tried planning. We do like loose planning and then improv on the night, and then kind of tidy it up afterwards to try and get an idealized studio kind of version of something that we've already done live, usually. Yeah, but we've tried it the other way as well, haven't we? Tried the traditional method.
Yeah, we've tried the sitting down writing as well. But I think what we tend to do is we come up with ideas and we send each other files, and then we jam. So it's basically jamming, and then jamming on the jam, and jamming on the jam of the jam, and it kind of goes backwards and forwards like that until we come up with something that takes on a whole new life, really.
And then we repeat that process on the night usually.
Yeah.
We go back a few steps and jam it again, having done a kind of practice jam.
Yeah. And then there's a whole, when it comes to doing things live, it's just it's often got a completely different sound as well, or different feel, because of the, just everything is pretty fluid really in that sense. Although they are song structures as well. And, dialogue and narration pieces.
And then each time we've done a bigger gig, we've planned it a bit more. It's been based on a recreation of the improvs.
We did this amazing thing called Pie in the Sky, which was like a club night that we put on. There was four acts all together, and it was just incredible. With 3 visual artists, a big circular screen behind us. That was at Walthamstow Trades Hall last month, and that was quite, it felt an amazing night, visually fantastic and lots to look at. That was good, wasn't it, Lee, that one?
Yeah, and for that one we planned our set meticulously because we wanted to actually finish the set before we got switched off at 11 o'clock. So we knew we had to finish on time.
Exactly. Which is the tricky thing, isn't it?
So really? It all depends on the event. We're going to make sure we stick to half an hour. It might lead to us planning things a bit more.
I woke up with the bass line from last night's jam rattling round my head. I hadn't slept well. Dreaming about leaving a club on Earth in the early hours and struggling to get home. The journey had inexplicably necessitated entering numerous additional clubs on the way home, and each time another unfortunate soul had put their trust in me, momentarily, convinced that I knew my way home. Their faith quickly turning into ungrateful criticism, which I found distracting. As the dream faded, I began to panic that I had not had enough sleep to prepare me for the next day ahead. Why had I done all that crystal of Zoom? I checked the job sheets and saw that the next job was a maintenance job in Salad Valley, where I had never been before. Hope sprang up within me. Maybe this would involve looking at plants all day, not a bad prospect compared to our typical duties. Robust was already powered up, radiating a helpful calm and emitting a barely audible ambient groove that seemed to be more proportionally sample-based. I said hello and wished, not for the first time, that he could speak. I'd heard of a group of hackers that were working on speech modules for his model, and made a mental note to check their progress if I could get the ship's computer back on the network. Looking at Robos and imagining what he would say if he could speak, I suddenly felt like I might be going quite mad, and remembered the Space Madness episode of Ren and Stimpy when they ate that bar of soap. I didn't want to end up like that. An overwhelming feeling of isolation overcame me, and I realized that I'd never felt so alone and so far away from home, untethered in space, shockingly, completely unaware of what year it was. What year is it, I thought to myself. Does it really matter? I realized that the year, the date, were concepts that became meaningless once you had left Earth's orbit. What year would it be on Earth? What date would it be on Earth? That's what it really meant. I decided to waste a few cycles of the freeware algorithm generator to work out roughly what date it would have been on Earth. I pulled a blank fag packet from the supply and started to punch holes in the blank. Convinced I had done my best to represent the relevant data, I inserted the fag packet into the fag and requested the algorithm results be forwarded to my handset when complete. I informed Robos of what I'd been up to, and he nodded sagely, but something about my mood made me doubt his comprehension. What does a date mean to a robot? He looked at me blankly, and I was reminded of my shamanic training. The idea is to go into the darkness and bring back something useful. Not to get annoyed that you can't see what you're doing while you're there. Something useful must come of this. Heading to South Valley, I decided to take my modified Earth guitar. If Silent Valley is large and even remotely picturesque, there is a high likelihood that the recreation pods have been placed overlooking it. Besides, I thought the sight of my vegetation might be inspiring. As we arrived at Silent Valley and found the recreation pod overlooking the splendor, the halide lights were fading out, attempting to convince the salad that it was spring. I'm sure it would be spring on Earth right now, I thought to myself. Right on cue, my headset vibrated, alerting me that my fag results were available. I tapped my screen to view the results. Error. Insufficient data in cycle 0 is all it said. It would be spring by now, I thought to myself as I flopped down on the soybean bag on the floor of the recreation pod. Robos cocked his head to one side, and I could almost hear his brain trying to compute my mood. It would be spring by now, Robos, I said aloud as a fine mist began to fall above the lettuce pyramids that stretched on forever.
Gently waking, hesitating. Shall I strum my guitar today? Hey, light sunrise, Salad Valley. Close my eyes and dream and fluoresce. Take a trip in the salad module. Is where I dwell. Very far from autumn, shiny surface. Far from tasks and things to be done, yeah. Making music under stardust. Always dreamed I'd be a space bum. Take a trip in the salad module. It's where I dwell. Fare thee well. 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 dwell.
So what's your plan around releasing music going forward?
Well, we're working on an album at the moment, and yeah, that's going. I think we've got one track down so far, but we've got 6 or 7 tracks, I think, all lined up, ready to go.
And they're all going to be short versions of things that we've improvised at EMOMs in the past. So I think of it as a way of retiring all that stuff that we've done. We will think about it or play it again after it's been put on a record, I think.
Yeah.
And it will be available as a picture disc, I think.
Yeah, that sounds great.
So the picture disc is the retirement present for the tracks, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it should be like a watch or something.
I love that. Do you mentioned before at the EMONs you're kind of playing your music and it turns into a bit of a jam. How long are these tracks? How long do you jam for? Is it kind of 10, 15 minutes and you want to try and shorten that down to 5 minutes or?
Well, pretty much. I mean, we're coming in about 7 now, but it's, they're pretty packed, those 7 minutes as well. There's lots of stuff going on. So, but yes, I think 5 would probably be more acceptable. Or 3, or 2.
No, I'm having a radio show myself and getting a lot of music in, the amount of stuff I get in that's under 3 minutes now is it's painful in my eyes. I don't like it. I like a longer track so you can actually feel the track before it goes off. If you know what I mean.
Well, a lot of our 15-minute pieces have got 3 kind of different sections anyway. So when you try to get that down to 5 minutes, it's impossible.
Yeah.
So
and we do have one or 2 bands who give us sort of 10-minute tracks, which I've played in the past. Because it's a good track. It doesn't bother me if it's sort of 3 or 4 minutes long or 10 minutes long. As long as it's good, it gets an air in. So I think, but my opinion is that you listen to a track and you kind of want to feel it and get under the skin of it, and you want to play it again because you want to hear more of it and you want to understand the structure of it a bit more and that kind of stuff. So it's very easy to make disposable pop at the moment. Or even any type of music, never mind just pop music, but any type of music, you can throw 2.5 minutes together very easily and go, there you go, and then forget about it. It doesn't feel it's come from the soul.
No,
that makes sense.
No, absolutely.
Long tracks.
Yeah, I'm going forward around your live. We mentioned about you've done a few live events previously. Are you planning to play live later on the year as well? And then maybe into next year, got a little bit of a plan for that.
Yeah, we've got a plan about doing we were just talking about this recently about doing a kind of solstice thing. So similar to another Pie in the Sky night, which is our club night. But somewhere around the summer solstice, do an event there and have that kind of like sun themed as well. So that's a possibility. So that's in the pipeline.
That's no doubt. Yeah, I want to do a fringe show.
Oh yeah, that would be an amazing idea.
Go in the other direction because we've had to do gigs. We have to cut out the theatrical side. I want to go in the other direction as well, make it more of a story and do a show at the Fringe. But it's a bit ambitious. To go away for a week, go to Edinburgh for a week.
Sounds great. I'm up for it.
That's an idea, not a plan.
So you need a lot of work on it to make it into a plan rather than an idea, I think. Yeah.
Well, we've got. I mean, we have. This is the thing. We've got a lot of material. We have been pretty prolific, although none of it's been released.
But we want to be invited to other gigs as well. This is nice. Being involved in a gig like Electroniq, but not just that we don't have to do everything ourselves, but also that there's going to be surprises for us on the night. These are the 3 acts we don't. And we don't know about them. So.
I'm looking forward to seeing. Is it Anne Ting? I think her star. I think I've seen her once before. Yeah.
So we've not got too much planned, but we're up for being invited to new gigs.
Have you seen Leg Poppy live?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. A couple of times. Yeah.
It's different every time.
I remember him being very sinister the first one we saw. Which was
doing the Teddy Bears picnics.
Yeah, that was great.
I did a review for the November event for Blitz magazine, which came out, I think, in January. And I was saying in the review that the Leg Poppy kind of has the audience on edge to some degree, because you're not quite sure what's going to happen, because you know they're going to come into the audience and do something, you just don't know what it's going to be,
Yeah, there's a quite slight psychotic tinge to it, isn't there? It's like,
I think what makes it even better is that Darren doesn't know what he's going to do half the time. He just does it,
He's as scared as we are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, it's really good. I mean, I'm really pleased you guys are doing it. I mean, you said about Ann Ting, and she's I had a conversation with her earlier on today, and it's part of the interview is actually on this show as well, and she's classically trained as a pianist and making music that's really, really cool. Make from birdsong and currently working on an album with fish sounds as well.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
it's just. This is the whole ethos of Electroniq. It's something completely different.
Yeah.
You're not going to go and you're not going to see anywhere else.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, there's a real thirst for that kind of music as well. That you just realize, oh yeah, you're not alone. Actually, lots of people like this kind of thing, which is one of the great revelations of my life really recently, is that if you're doing something unusual, you'll always find someone who likes it.
It's made me realize as well that I like a completely different kind of music live than I do on a record.
Yeah.
So
I can understand that completely. Yeah.
So I'm going to an EMOM to hear things that I would never listen to at home.
Yeah, absolutely, and support that environment as well, and networking with people that are there and sharing tips and all the kind of good stuff that comes out of it really, and giving confidence to those who maybe doing their first one and they're not quite sure how it's coming across, and all that good stuff that the EMONs kind of generates, and hopefully it's going to generate more electronic people who make electronic music who want to make a bit more of a, and I say career very loosely, but have a bit of a theme that they can go out and play gigs like Electroniq and the sort of bigger venues as well. I think it's really, really important,
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for your time today. I really do appreciate it, and I'm sure you're going to have a wonderful night on the 21st of March at Dublin Castle in that there, Camden. Ladies and gentlemen, Space Wreck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Cheers.
Next up on the show, we have got Ann Ting and Paul Gallagher. I interviewed them and they were in Bali recording the sounds of fishes. It sounds surreal, and it was a really, really interesting conversation about how they're doing it and more information about that. But they've also been recording the sounds of birds from all over the world, and we talked about that at quite a bit of length actually. Bear in mind they were in Bali, I was here in the UK. The connection wasn't particularly great in certain areas, so please do bear with us, but I think you'll find it's a really inspiring interview. And here we go, this is Ann Ting and Paul Gallagher.
So where are you guys at the moment?
We are in Bali.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So we are but we are doing a difficult project. We are recording fish sound.
It sounds brilliant. Do you know those three? And I really mean that. Those 3 tracks you sent me with the bird song, I just thought were really, really cool.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, it's just so good. I was like, oh my god, you're kind of changing the sounds as well throughout the tracks, and it's just really, really good. I thoroughly enjoyed those 3 tracks. I thought it was really good.
Thank you. I'm glad that, so we were recording bird songs, and then now the new project is going to be fish song, but fish song is much more typical than bird songs.
I mean, first of all, people don't even know that. I mean, I never knew that fish really made any noises until we went diving and listened to it, and they are actually shouting at each other down there, but you don't hear it that much because of the diving, the bubbles and everything.
And because underwater is actually very, very noisy, because a coral, so coral, they made so loud sound as well. So it's so underwater, it's just so noisy. So yeah.
Wow, you wouldn't have thought so. You really wouldn't have thought so. Do you have to use special equipment to record them?
Yeah, very difficult.
Designing our own kind of it's like a hydrophone array that, because to make kind of 3D sound, you need a special like arrangement for the.
So it's like a four microphone, and then they are in tetrahedron.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Like a so shape. So it's so difficult because we need hydrophone need a recorder to power it, but then none of the recorder are waterproof, so we have to just devise our own like just waterproof cases to bring things, and then we have broken many things already. So because seawater is very scary. Yeah,
salt water just corrodes everything like almost instantly. It's like it's just trying to eat everything that's metal. So we've gone through 2 recorders already now.
Yeah. So I mean, sorry, we are carrying on talking about this because you asked us where we are, and also we were just listening to the sound, to the recording, and so like, oh, this is fish sound, and fish is so noisy. Yeah. So it's funny.
So are you aiming for certain types of fish, or just any fish?
Oh, I'm aiming for any fish at the moment.
Yeah, at the moment, I don't think I've never seen it on like a Richard Attenborough show or anything of like fish making sound. I don't think people really know that they make sound, so we're not going specific enough to like say this fish has this sound or anything like that yet. It's just the fact that there is sound down there.
Yeah, because we also have at the top of the microphone, we also have a camera, 360-degree camera. So we happen to capture one fish which was just really kind of like a do this to the other fish, and then at that moment we recorded some sound, so like brah, this kind of like sound. So we can so we have evidence that fish was talking to the other fish.
Wow.
Otherwise it's very difficult. Anyway, this is a very difficult project. Yeah,
it's just it's maybe difficult, but it's really kind of inspiring as well that you guys are doing this sort of stuff. It's just brilliant. Yeah, there's 7 tracks on the album, isn't there? There's that was out in 2024, and I think the ones you've sent me are just really very good. I think they fit in really well. I mean, an example of one of them, I think it was the Eurasian Wren one. I think is a dark synths on it, and the kind of chirping and the noise cuts through those synths really, really well. You know, and you can feel it. It just works really, really well. So how did you get the inspiration to do Birdsong then in that case?
Like, I mean, Ian is always a birdsong.
I was always interested in birds.
Yeah.
I think at some point in our relationship, I introduced her to birdsong, and then she, like, Anting's a classically trained musician, and she was like, oh, that's the key of E, and that bird's doing a major fourth, minor fifth.
Yeah. So like, I mean, pandemic playing a big part, because during pandemic time it was very quiet, and then bird songs become very like loud, very clear. Yeah. So I mean, pandemic just make everything just quieter, like the world, just the human noise quieter, and then bird songs much louder. So like, and then we went to like we had towards the end of like a pandemic, we went to Portugal, and then we, in a dark sky area, like we just sleep on the boat, and then in the morning, because it's completely outside, we slept just outside, and then the bird, like the morning dawn, like we wake up with this dawn, and it's just completely like the most amazing kind of like a orchestra I think we can imagine. And just like, so then we started to just like record bird songs. So then like this like particularly lost communications, I mean, it come with a lot of like our travel. Ian can tell you more about like in the performance, like we all have visual, like kind of like the visual got a lot of like our whole inspiration. I will tell you a little bit more about where we recorded sounds. So like, so we decided to go traveling. I quit my job like as an artist director for an arts organization, and then we decided to have like just like some random traveling. So then we went to like Mongolia, and then we went to like from Mongolia and then to the west side of China and Hong Kong, Taiwan. So on this part of the travel, we recorded the bird songs, and in the UK as well. And so yeah.
So you're not. I wouldn't class you guys as a traditional electronic band artist, if you like, because you're sound artists more than anything else, sound and visual artists, which is really very excellent. That's the sort of thing I love, and I know for the Electroniq gig as well in the end of March, it'll go down an absolute storm, because that's what people are going to see, something very different and something unique. So what happens first? Is it the audio first before the visuals, or is it done at the same time?
Yeah, we both travel to places to kind of experience the place and experience the bird song, and Anting records it and then makes music, and then the visuals come after that. But the visuals are inspired by our shared experiences, but also with the idea that the birds are trying to communicate something, or at least there's like they're part of an ecosystem that's got some ability to connect with nature, kind of thing. So it's like the birds are kind of the most obvious part of the ecosystem in a way that like they're definitely shouting something at us, and we're trying to figure out what that is.
And it's the kind of visuals are fed from that, I guess.
Yeah. It's like it's about the light and darkness of nature. I mean, like pretty little songs about birds. It's not like relaxing or anything. It's dark and kind of menacing at times.
Yeah,
because nature is that as well. Beautiful, but it can also be like it also wants to eat you at the end of the day.
Yeah, so the recording process is very important, because I mean, just I mean, some people that they might like just because birdsong is not a lot difficult, but the reason why we have to use our recording is like because it's the most important part is about where we experience that when we record, just like because when traveling to Mongolia, because Mongolia is a place kind of we have been to the closest to nature. I think like the wild, it's more wild. So kind of so that's when we really experience about what Ian was just talking about, the light. And in Mongolia, it's just like in the like reindeer mountain, or it's kind of like the nomads kind of like they're just place. There's no electricity and no like water. Is kind of everything is nature. But then just during the night, it was really scary. It's like there's even like a wolf, if there's actually wolf, kind of like
because the guy who owned the horses that we were using was worried the wolves were going to eat the horses, so we had to go out in the dark.
Yes, then too.
Essentially fights the wolves.
And then when we sleep in the tent, like it's super cold. It's kind of like under 0 degree, and then we just like we just really really hope that like it's going to be day soon. There are lots of animal sound and this kind of thing. So then when yeah.
And then we feel like we understand the kind of dawn chorus a lot more, because like all the animals are quite happy that the sun's back, and they can they've survived the night.
Yeah. So nature is really dark. Like we kind like we. I mean, the more we kind of record the just like I mean fish song and bird songs now, we just also feel more about just I mean we as human beings we make our, so we basically kill a lot of things and for us to be able to survive. It's not like crazy thing or something. It's just a reality. It's just a truth. We also kind of like are scared of a lot of things, and but I think we should like recognize and face that. And when we hear like the sound of the nature, they are not just like the birds like doing meditating music or this kind of thing, but they can be talking about some pretty insane or
I think when you're doing that work as well, you mean, like you say, you've been in Mongolia and you're doing the fish recordings as well, you are in their environment. And so there's probably some inspiration when you're making the music, and even for yourself, Ian, when you're thinking of the visuals as well around that, because you are in that environment.
Yeah. I mean, particularly with the diving that we're doing at the moment, another planet down there, but there's all these fish just kind of living their lives, just it's really rich and vibrant down there, but like we don't even know it exists half the time. People going over it in boats and they don't see it. So there's like a hidden world. And then in forests, like where we went to in Mongolia, none of the mountains around there have names or anything, or like the roads aren't on the map or anything like that. It's just, it's like a uncharted kind of territory, but there's all these creatures just kind of living their lives. Like we kind of, when growing up in the UK, you kind of you start to feel like nature's kind of like a garden, and it's all kind of controlled by people. But when you go to places like that, you realize what it existed for millions of years before we were around, so it's probably been doing something like and thinking things and saying things before us.
Just going back to your kind of musical career, you're classically trained, and your first few albums were classical albums. What was the decision? What was the driver to go from being classical to kind of the electronic world, should I say?
Yeah, I mean, I'm now taking myself like as an electronic musician so naturally. My question is actually why was I a pianist? Why was I a classical pianist before? I think that's a problem. That's a question. And also I think that's a problem. It's like the classical music world is so, like, I would even say like colonizing the world.
Right.
So like I grew up in Taiwan, and so like, and then we have a lot of music, but like, and I actually, the classical music was the only kind of like proper instrumental music I have encountered before, which is a problem. I seriously think that's a problem. But then, but I mean, I love music. I don't mean classical music is not good or something. It's beautiful. It's great. But classical music is one of the music one type of music, one particular sound. Like, I mean, there are so many different kind of music, and it's because that's more kind of like just what people feel more proper music kind of like wrote. So like that I just do a pianist. But I know I always just feel some unsatisfied feeling as a pianist, because as a classical pianist I play like mostly other people's song. So like and musicians, but they like I really have nothing to do with them, and we're very different. So then like my eye-opening time was actually very late, just like it's a few years ago. I was in Canada. There's a Banff Center for Arts and Creativity, so I was a musician in residence there. And there they put all the different sort of musicians there, so including classical musician, electronic musician, and like a jazz musician. And like, I feel all of these are music, and classical piano is one part of that. I mean, that has already happened after I have a PhD in music and baroque music. But yeah, baroque music is the whole classical music. Like, classical music got a hierarchy there. Just like, just we took any other music kind of like just judge on other things. We judge on ourselves as Bach or Chopin, so we don't want to compose. And so yeah, it was very funny, of course, now I think, but that was actually just a few years ago. I experienced that. I listened to other music, and suddenly my world is just open. It was life-changing for me. And then afterwards, I started to compose, and I started to kind of like just dig more into electronic music. And I think electronic just like you can see people do electronic music, they can do I mean, electronic music is in a way not one genre. It includes so many different things. So like I think that's a very natural way for like for classical music to go in, because this is I think I'm more interested in instrumental music, not like a singer-songwriter. Often it's instrumental alone, and also it just got all sorts of different things you can do. I can combine bird songs, and also I had a previous like album also combine some Chinese instrument and this kind of thing. Just you can actually bring all the elements into that, and I think that's why I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you find that there's too much choice sometimes with electronic music, because you can make quite literally any sound you want virtually, and how do you kind of narrow that down to how you create and compose a track? You know, you've got a bank of keyboards, or you've got like plugins and everything there, and you can do what you want. It must be really difficult to narrow down what you want to do.
Yeah, so I think so lost communication. So this project we are doing together is very important, because we are very interested in this world of nature which we don't understand enough. So let's narrow down about what kind of like I feel that's the connection with sound of that, and then also to put myself all into the music is more meaningful by doing this.
So what's coming up for you two? I know you've got the Electroniq gig on the 21st of March.
I mean, we have one gig in like in Derby, what is that, the Psychic Dance Hall Festival, like just the next day, and then just like I got some, so we will need to have like some first like a part of what we're going to do for Underwater.
Yeah,
just after the gig actually.
We're also going to be performing in the Norwich Festival.
Norfolk and Norwich
Festival. And Anting has another project that she's working on.
Yeah, I work on Departure. We are going to tour later in the year, so like it's a dance music.
Oh, okay.
Music instrument, yeah.
Oh, good stuff. You got lots planned, and I'm really looking forward to listening to the Fish music as well. And thanks so much for having a chat with me today. I've been really, really intrigued with what you've been talking about.
Last up on the show today, we've got Arch Femesis. I had a chat with Zira and Princess Stephen all about their music, what they like to play, and some of their favourite tracks as well, the favourite venues they played. One question I didn't ask, I was banned from asking, is how did they meet? Because they get asked it all the time, so that was scored off the list straight away. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Arch Femesis. Arch Femesis, how are you?
We're good. How are you?
Very good, very good.
We're in the middle of a tour actually as well.
Oh, are you? Where you been touring?
Well, kind of. We're touring every weekend at the moment, so we're calling it a tour, but we're just performing every weekend.
So where are you performing?
This weekend, Manchester.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Whereabouts?
Habitat.
We're playing
Studios.
at Habitat. Yeah, Habitat After Dark with Little Punk Records, which will be extremely exciting because it'll be visually and sonically recorded. And we're joined by the Red Stains and Sour Flake. So it's a whole bunch of punk princesses on the lineup. So
it's going to be very
a
intimate.
lovely gig.
It's going to be very intimate. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
So on your YouTube, you've got a whole lot of live clips on there, really good, and one from the White Hotel as well in Salford. And I'm going to ask you, what do you think of the White Hotel in Salford? It's an iconic venue, though.
Despite the extremely low temperatures, I think it's an absolutely cracking space. There's nothing more appealing to a queer punk band than an industrial ex-garage venue, in the middle of an industrial estate. It's very appealing, absolutely fat sound, great lighting, and like a great community behind it. I think the promoters that work there have really just showcased the best of like alternative music for sure.
Yeah, it's my favourite venue that we've performed at, I'd say, in Manchester. Although it was sketchy going there the first time because it is like in a proper industrial estate, and I was like, what? Like there's no one around, and I was concerned a little bit. But we played with Grove there, who's really awesome, one of my favourite acts, one of my favourite artists. Yeah. So we had a blast.
It's a great venue. I mean, I walked up and had some kind of chickeny kebabby thing on the way up there in one of the takeaway shops, which was absolutely incredible, I've got to say. And then you're right, you walk onto this industrial estate and it's in the middle of nowhere and you wonder what the hell, where am I? Where's the hotel?
It's a bit of a misleading name, isn't it? I wonder how they came up with it.
I wonder indeed. So describe your music to us. What will we expect to see at Electroniq on the 21st of March at Camden?
Well, we're inspired by so many different things, but it definitely comes from like a performance art POV. Like we're quite a physical band. I do like to interact with the audience a lot and play with like costume and noise and really getting up in the audience faces. So yeah, I would describe our music as very acerbic, witty, and quite satirical as well. Like half of it is a comedy show filled with impressions and silly little bits. And
if we ever have any tech issues,
when there's any
if we have tech issues, Zara basically performs a stand-up set and whilst the tech sorts them out. So
Netflix special coming up.
But we definitely influence musically, like we're influenced by things like, techno, like kind of electronica, a lot of 80s stuff as well. There's quite a few different mixes in there. Our sound's been getting a bit harder the last couple of years, I think, I would say.
So who writes the music? Is it Stephen? Do you do the music and Zira, you do the lyrics, or is it together? Or
we do everything together most of the time. Like we do work on tracks together and see where it will go, and it's always a bit of a push and pull because I think we have a slightly competing visions or competing backgrounds. Sometimes I'm probably a bit more pop / cheesy Euro dancey focused, and Zera's a bit more punk and hard techno. So there's always a bit of a kind of slight clash in where we want to take the song sometimes. We kind of have to work that out a bit.
We're going to play some of your tracks today, and one of them, tell us about Rejectile Dysfunction.
Oh, I honestly love performing this song because sometimes I literally get possessed by the spirit of a middle-aged bloke. I don't know what happens, but something just comes out of me and I just become this whole persona of being like a lad. And we always introduce the song doing this like little bit, like this little role play where it's just imagine yourself at a house party, having a drink to yourself and some dude in a turtleneck, loafers, no socks, comes waltzing up to you like he got a big pair of balls. And I just do this impression of this absolute wanker invading your personal space. And the whole song is this kind of back and forth between these two characters. And yeah, very auto relate to it. And I think for the feedback that I've received off people, it's like a song filled with all those comebacks you think of in the shower 3 hours later after having an argument with someone. It's like all the things you wanted to say, like nailed in a song.
Stephen?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's Zera's lyrics and performance that really made this song. But on the produced version, we did some really nice vocal effects as well. It sounds kind of robotic in places, which I think is quite cool. And it's a little bit different, the recorded version, to our live version. But I think it's one of the most fun songs to perform.
And you've got a very distinctive image on stage as well. Again, don't expect, when you go and see Archfemesis, don't expect them to do 3-minute pop songs and off the pop. Very distinctive, very fashion orientated, and I think you're right, Zera. You don't take yourself too seriously. However, you do own the stage.
I do take performance very seriously, no matter how silly it gets. I take being silly very seriously, and yeah, fashion is a very important part of it. I think if both of us were capable of having periods, we would be in sync, because honestly, the amount of times our outfits have been in sync, we've rocked up to a gig, living on different sides of the country, not having any like chit chat about it beforehand. We rock up to the venue like, Steven's like, I've got a bit of latex today and I've got a bit of fishnet and I'm wearing a bit of red. I'm like, oh, well, I'm wearing this white lace wedding dress with some red highlights in it as well. And like, we just seem to just always like get the same kind of intuition about how we are going to present ourselves. It's quite witchy, to be honest. But being part of this project, both of us, we've really been able to explore our fashion and like making our own clothes and incorporating it into the journey of the performance, really creating moods. Like, yeah, I really love that aspect of our of the band.
And Stephen, where's your inspiration from for your dress sense?
Just be as slutty as possible. That's my main inspiration. It's like the less I can wear, or well, not the less, but you know, just something slutty. You should see when I'm packing to go on like a tour, like my stage outfits fit in like a tiny little bag because they're all so small.
A little bum bag.
You play abroad and you no problem with the Ryanair suitcase thing, is there? Straight under the seat in front.
Exactly.
Oh, good stuff. So 21st of March, you're playing the wonderful Dublin Castle. Have you played it before?
No, we haven't. And like the fact that we're headlining the Dublin Castle, like in iconic venues, like I'm really gassed about it. Like I can't believe it. Like I'm really excited. And I've heard so much about it, and I've seen the really cool bands that pass through there, and it's just like this does feel like a moment.
There's a nice circularity to it as well, because our first gig in London was in Camden.
Journey through like performing in London, it's like
our very first London gig was in Camden, but it was not really a big music venue. It's that one that's
the Good Mixer.
The Good Mixer, yeah. It's more of like a hangout. I did see it in the Amy Winehouse film, actually.
No, I was like, that's the place we were at. Oh my god.
But I think since then we've played like we played the Underworld in Camden recently. So like I feel like we've ticked off most of the Camden ones now. But yeah, it's good to be great to headline.
And you're quite seasoned performers as well now. You've not like you've done a handful of gigs. You kind of gig quite a bit and do a fair few shows. And I think I genuinely do think you're going to go down an absolute storm in Dublin Castle, because it's a wonderful venue. It's when it's busy, the atmosphere is just great. The crowds are wonderful. The PA is superb. It's got everything going for it. It really has. And you're headlining an event that has 4 incredible artists. So I think it's quite rightly, Zero, you should be really giddy for this. And Stephen, you'll love it because of the techie kind of stuff as well, I presume, you know, and with having Jay doing some of the visuals as well be really good. So what songs do you think you'd be playing on the 21st? I know you say about Projectile Dysfunction. Pussy Bitch? Gonna play that?
You know it, bitch. You know it. It's a classic. It's a classic anthem. And we're just so happy that we finally released it exclusively on Bandcamp on this radio station. But it's there's other tracks that aren't recorded yet, so the only things that you can see and experience live, such as SSCC, which stands for Sensual Socialism Comrade Companion, and
yeah,
Tutti Frutti. We love finishing on Tutti Frutti. There's a lot of just like queer centric kind of dirty disco, just loads of tracks that we're just in the process of getting together so that it can be more accessible. But we just like to, we're taking a bit more of a harder route, less dark wave crooners, more like Eurotrash.
More like Berlin, techno. Yeah. There's a good story behind Pussy Bitch as well, isn't there, Zara?
Oh God, yeah. I feel like I should have included it in the recording because it's such a, again, the intros of these songs are like, for the live performance, they really are just part of the songs. And so the song Pussy Bitch, I always start off by saying, this is a song about what someone said to me while we were breaking up. We were on the phone and he said to me, you only think of your shit. And I paused mid-argument to write it on my phone notes because I thought that is such an iconic line. And now it's a skate anthem. You're welcome. And it's just turning that moment of anger and misogyny and turning it into just like a really silly song where everyone joins in, and it's almost giving like guys a green card to say you think you're a pussy bitch. I'm just going around the whole audience shoving the microphone in people's faces. Go on, say it. And like it's just a chance for the crowd to get like really silly with us, and it's also Grove's favorite song of ours, so yeah.
It's
I
good.
bet they're well chuffed we've released it now.
So it's cathartic as well for men, I guess, to sort of shout that down a microphone, as well as you know, just as being anthemic at the same time, you know.
Yeah.
situation, cause we don't live in the same dimension. I wanna be done this conversation.
Calm down, love. Can't you take a compliment? Why you getting irate? You're fucking ugly anyway.
Your hyper-masculinity is trying to get all up on me. Don't try to win my entity. Your fuckery will not work with me, cause I'll slice the dick off with my wits and come back scribbling next to none. To get your hand off my behind, demonic, harmonic, and tell you goodbye. See ya. Hopefully never. Digga-da-da-da. 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 Rubba-ra-da-da-da-da. Digga-ra-da-da-da-da. Digga-ra-da-da-da. Ooh.
Which of your tracks is your favourite? Stephen, I'll start with you.
To perform, I'd say Kali is my favorite to perform because it's kind of probably the most improvised and it's probably the hardest just in terms of overall sonically. Like Zero gets out into the crowd, there's a lot of screaming and like I really push the synths to their like absolute maximum and there's always quite a lot of improvisation. So depending how Zero's interacting with the audience or just what energy they're in that moment, I try to respond to it in the music and it's the most open song in terms of what I can do on the synths. It's not as structured in, verse, chorus, bridge. It's just very much a chance to experiment and go a bit wild.
By you, Zero, what's your favourite track?
I completely agree. Like that is my favorite track to perform. Like it, as you said, the word cathartic, like I let out all the rage, like physical, vocal. It's a chance for me to like really experiment with like noise making with my voice. Like coming from a classical music background, it was like, this is why like I'm in love with punk and in love with like, old school, like people like Yoko Ono, like really pushing voice and sound and having fun with it, but showing like really raw emotions, like learning how to like growl and do kind of like metal stylized vocal distortion and really like pushing the comfort zones of my audience. And I think that's one of the thrills that our audience enjoys because people like to get picked on and I'm more than happy to pick on people. And my favorite hobby is intimidating the men in the crowd and just like getting them by the scruff of the neck and just roaring in their face. And then sometimes we have duets with audience members. There's been really beautiful moments where we've had like a back and forth with an audience member, like mirroring each other's sounds and create some really beautiful moments, really intimate, beautiful moments with people. Yeah.
I'll tell you something. You guys are going to fit in so well on this Electroniq gig.
I'm so excited.
There is an actual element, and I've said this a few times, and I'll say it again. When you go to an Electroniq gig, you don't know what's going to happen because Leg Puppy are very similar in that respect, where they get the audience involved, and other artists do as well. And there's an element of almost apprehension and a little bit of scarediness in the audience about what's going to happen tonight because you just don't know. Leg Puppy don't know what's going to happen. You're probably the same yourselves there. You don't know what you're going to be doing in that crowd. You just take it as you go. And Stephen's the guy stood there doing the music and driving it all behind, so it's all really good.
I've thought about sometimes, because I used to play rugby and I've got a ball, and I've also been taking up boxing lessons. Part of me just kind of wants to wrestle someone, like have a full-on like. I really want a rugby scrum. I honestly have this like intrusive thought of like, we just need a full-on scrum right now. I actually need to wrestle someone right now, please. So
Stephen, you're going to be on the stage filling for 20 minutes while the scrum goes down.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll just do some beats for 20 minutes. And, I can respond to the scrum though as well. We can improvise.
Oh, wonderful!
Just get a contact mic on everyone's shoulders.
Oh, that's brilliant. Archfeminists, thank you so much. Princess Stephen and Zira, thank you so much for that conversation. That was just brilliant. Have yourself a wonderful, wonderful night on 21st of March at Camden, and have a great time. It'll be a really good evening. You will love it. Thank you.
You're absolute legend, Stuart. Thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it. And
Thank you, Stuart.
There we go. That was the wonderful Archfeminists. You can see them live at Electroniq on the 21st of March at Camden at Dublin Castle. They are your headliners, and I will tell you now, you're going to be in for an absolute treat. We are at the end of the show. We have heard from Space Wreck, we've heard from Leg Poppy, Archfeminists, and also Ang Ting and Paul Gallagher as well. If you want tickets, please head over to wegottickets.com and you'll find do a search for Lucida Records and you'll find it, because it's going to be a great night. I think Darren mentioned earlier it's 10 quid a ticket. It's actually 8 quid a ticket if you buy it in advance. So fill your boots and you'll have the most amazing night, and just open your absolute soul to Electroniq, because it is an amazing thing that's happening down there in London, and I do hope it gets bigger and bigger and better, but it's already at the top of its game. Really good stuff. Thank you so much for listening, and if you are going down, please do enjoy it. Have yourself a great time. Goodbye.
You are now logging off the Electro Wave Show.
Can I come in?